Hey, Coach, the only 3 rushing first downs that Syracuse had were quarterback scrambles. What did the front line do to keep Syracuse from having any success running the ball, especially from tackle to tackle and converting any first downs?
I think our 2 inside kids, I thought Ray and Tamari played really well, and that's a part of it. And then our 2 inside linebackers are really good players, and I think if you're going to try to run, one back, one tight end kind of run plays that they're going to diagnose those pretty well. So I think that the combination of those 4 kids, in the run game, we're going to have a pretty good chance to stop most runs, I think.
Other question, Caiman Rucker. I think you played around 25 snaps or so. How would you evaluate how he performed?
Yeah, we wanted to get him in a little earlier, and we kind of felt that way about a couple of the guys, and then the just kind of the way the game was going, we kind of, our kind of rule of thumb is when they get the ball in deep, we want to go with our first unit, and it kind of happened that way a little bit when we wanted to get him in earlier. But I think Caiman's going to be a really good player. He was really physical when he was in the game. I think he really had a sack. I think it's one of those we tackled him for 0, but it was a little bit less than 0 kind of deal. So I think he did really well. He's going to continue to play and play more.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question comes from Martin. Ross, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. What went into kind of using 2 defensive linemen and then having Tamon Fox on the edge as well? Is that just a schematic thing, or is that personnel, or is that just what you saw? Because it seemed like you only had, for most of the game, just Tamari and Ray down there as the down linemen.
Jalil played a lot. Also, I think Jalil and Ray snaps were pretty equal or pretty close to equal at the end. So, we feel like, Tyrone and Caiman Rucker and Taman and Chris Collins are playing at a really high level, and we're going to play those guys more. And right now it's a little bit more of a 4-man structure than a 3-man structure. And so I think that's kind of where we are right now with it. But, Caiman kind of plays a little bit of both. Tyrone kind of plays a little bit of both. Taman plays a little bit of both. So, I think going forward, that'll kind of be what it is. But, we're really happy with Tamari and Ray. I thought Zach Gill played really well, when he got in. I think he played about, 18 or 20 snaps and did a good job when he was in. And it wasn't just at the end. At the end we got some of the real young kids in. So I feel like between Zach and Jalil with Ray and Tamari that we can handle those 2 inside spots really well right now.
And then Don Chapman, I think he's a guy you recruited at Army, and then obviously came to UNC. What can you tell us about him? It seemed like he made some really good open field tackles and played the most snaps of anybody in the secondary.
Yeah, I recruited Don for like 4 days. And then he started getting offers from like Pac-12 schools. And at Army, you kind of cut bait and go fish somewhere else at that point. But, Don, I tell you what, we thought last year he was really I thought he played great in the bowl game. Kind of once we kind of said, we're going to go with him about 2/3 of the way through the season, I felt like he really, really improved every week. He's had a great offseason. He's improved physically. I think when you look at him, you look at the job Brian Hess has done with our guys and kind of the weirdest offseason of all time. I think Don Chapman is playing at a really high level. We're better when Don's out there and he helps us operate. So I think when Don's out there with Miles Woolfolk, we've got some, two guys that really can get us lined up and see things and run the defense. And I think we feel pretty good with those 2 back there.
Cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move over to Brian Keys. Brian, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to know if you could just give us a quick scouting report of what you're expecting to see from Charlotte.
Sure. I coached Will Healy in college, so I've known him for a long time. He's done a great job. Matt Carney, the offense coordinator, and I used to share an office, so I got a lot of respect for those guys. They're really good football coaches. I think it starts with a quarterback. To me, the quarterback's one of those guys that, growing up, I bet he never lost a pickup game. Right, he's just one of those guys that knows how to compete and runs around, throws it. And they run him. They design quarterback runs. A good player. I think the transfer running back Harbison's a really good player. You can see why he was in multiple 1,000-yard rusher in Northern Illinois. I know Northern Illinois from when I was at Ball State. They've had good backs. So I think those 2 kids are really good. I think the receiver, I think it was second team all conference USA guy last year at 900 some yards, is a really good player. So. Those 3 are kind of their 3 primary skill guys. And then, the thing they do that we haven't seen a bunch the last, really since I've been here, is the use of the tight ends. They're going to give you 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, and create surfaces for you that you have to, we've been in there talking all day, all morning and all night about all the different, run fits and how it affects the secondary. So, they do a really good job, a lot of shifts, a lot of motions, gonna make our guys work. And, we're gonna have to do a great job, communicating. I think that's the initial assessment of those guys.
Thank you.
Sure.
Let's go to CL Brown. CL, go ahead.
Jay, this might even seem like nitpicking, but after a game like that, defensively, like what do you tell them they need to do better on? Like, what are the areas that you're targeting that you want to see cleaned up from last week to this week?
I think the most improvement you make as a football team every year is from week 1 to week 2. Because you go against the offense and you're seeing, the same people every day, and it starts to become a little bit monotonous. And then you start to go against people and they see how people are going to attack you. And so without question, the number one thing we can improve is our effort. I thought our effort at times Saturday wasn't the level we want it to be. And I think our older players saw it before I did, which was really good thing to see. So I think that's that. I think our communication can be better. Syracuse got us a few times going fast. We shouldn't be surprised by that. Our offense does that against us. That should be something that doesn't give us as much problems as it did at times. I thought, honestly, I thought we tackled really good for the first week. As much as the ball was out in space, and I think that's always the thing I'm most worried about. Week 1 is tackling, because we don't tackle much anymore in college football in practice. So I think that was a positive. But I think our effort and our communication can be really good. And then I think we're going to have to be a little bit more multiple in coverage this week. And so I think, the ability to play some different coverages and use the safeties in different ways will be important too.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to Dina King. Dina, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. How important was it to get some of your younger guys like Conley, Grimes, and Murphy in the game getting valuable reps?
Yeah, you learn the most from playing. So Miles Murphy, we wanted to get him in earlier, and we just never we didn't get the right scenario for the package we had him in. So I was good to see him. I think it was the next to last drive before we really put all the young guys in. We were able to get him in. We want to get Miles Murphy in when it's reps that matter, and make him play when it's an important rep, because we think he's got value to our defense, and I think that every week he's going to get better and better. Obviously, to getting Tony in was huge. Every rep Tony takes is like stealing. Because he should be in high school, right? He should be ready to go play, Cox or Kempsville or someplace, down in Virginia Beach. But he's really improving. We see Tony Grimes improve every day. So I think we're going to see a really, really elite player here when it's all said and done out of Tony. So, I think to get Caiman Rucker as many reps, to get Miles Murphy as many reps, to get, all those young guys in was huge for us.
Thank you.
All right, Gregory Hall, you're up next.
Hey, Jay, you and Mac have been really high on Ray Vahasek for a while, and it seemed like he kind of lived up to those expectations on Saturday. What did you see out of him?
So, really at the end of the season last year, we really we thought really highly of Ray, just how he improved. I think people don't understand, like he had a shoulder injury at his last year at junior college. And so when we got him, like physically, he hadn't had an off season like he did this year, and even coming in last year, with Hess working in the summer when he got here. And so I think physically, he's so much better than he was. Ray is a kid that plays there with a really high level of effort, a really high level of physicality. When I talked to one of the guys on Syracuse staff who I knew, I said, after the game, I said, who jumped out at you? He said 51. So I think Ray is a difference maker, and we're not surprised at all. We kept getting asked by the D line, and I just kept saying, Ray's gonna be really good, and I think you see now. I think him and Tamari are really good players.
And then you finally got to see Kyler McMichael in action. What did you like at him, and did he do anything that you were expecting, or something that maybe you didn't know he had capable of him?
It was great to see him play as much as he did. Here's the deal with corners, Greg. when you don't talk about him, it's a pretty good day. You with me? So Kyler, like everybody's like, hey, Kyler he played pretty good, huh? Nobody talked about him. That's pretty good, right? Because he was with man coverage a lot. So, Kyler is really talented. He's going to get better every day. And again, he didn't play football last year, right? He was on the scout team and did a great job down there helping those guys. But we kept him in meetings, but it's not the same. And so, he's got a ton of ability. I'm really glad he's here. He's going to play a ton.